All right. Next bit of news. Bronny James, as you all know, he got drafted to the Lakers with his pops. LeBron, he got his wish. He will be able to play with his son on the same basketball team. So this caused a lot of controversy. Ever since we found out that Bronny was entering the draft, things were popping up with him. Ever since he entered the draft, things were popping up about Bronny, whether he's good or not. And then obviously the biggest thing is the whole nepotism conversation. So Bronny ended up getting drafted to the Lakers. They took a chance, and LeBron he got way too much power, bro. Him and Rich Paul, I don't know what they doing, bro, but they can make anything happen. Or it seems that they can make anything happen in the NBA. It's crazy. So, again, now that it's official, now hella people's like, man, it's nepotism and nepotism. Bronny James ain't even that good. You know, he averaged 4 points when he went to USC. You know, only won a year, didn't really do anything. And then, you know, Rich Paul was like, man, you know, we're gonna put you in the G League, or you're gonna go to another college, or you're gonna go overseas. Like, just it was a lot of like, hey, he might do this, he might do this, he might do this. But overall, they got what they wanted. He didn't have to go to another college. He didn't have to go to the G League. He didn't have to go overseas. He's on the Lakers. What up, Ace? So, I want to watch this. I haven't seen this before, but it looks like TMZ caught up with Rich Paul, who, you know, is a mastermind making everything happen. And let's see what he says about nepotism. And then I will give my thoughts on Bronny James specifically and the overall conversation on nepotism and whether I think it's a good thing or not.
Hey, Rich.
Good.
How are you, man?
Good.
Good. Congratulations. You got your guy in the Lakers, huh?
Yeah.
How's that feel? Been playing with his dad, huh?
Great. I mean, yeah, you know, like having an opportunity to play with his dad, but, you know, really him deserving the opportunity to play in the NBA first and foremost. And then you can sweeten it by playing with your dad. I think it's pretty cool.
It's a cherry on top.
I think so.
Listen,
Yeah.
he's got a lot of people are just saying that it's his name, it's his dad that kind of got him in that, the 50, what is it, 55 is, you know, his big. He's got a lot to prove now, right? Because he's got to prove all the haters. How does he do that?
He got just as much to prove as anybody that was drafted Wednesday and Thursday, as well as any.
You don't think the pressure is more for him though, because of his name and the blood?
Yeah, well, that comes. Yeah, of course, that's a natural thing that comes with it. But you know, I don't think there's a lot of value to put in the name calling. It's a lot more value to put in the work to be done after, because that's what actually gets rewarded.
I'm just gonna ask it. A lot of people say if he's not Bronny James, he doesn't go 55. He doesn't go in the second round. Let's just be honest. Does that have something to do with it here? I mean, he's good. He's a talented player, but is he in that caliber?
Yeah, he deserves to be in the NBA. Yeah, a lot of people say a lot of things.
Right.
Sense.
Is there any nepotism here at all?
I think, you know, oftentimes when things happen in a very positive way, people decide how they want to view it, right?
Yeah, and they find a negative way on it.
And so, you know, I know there's family members in the front offices and ownership groups.
Of course.
Every sports team, and so.
All right.
What we do as parents is work hard to try to make it a better opportunity for kids.
You're right.
So if that's nepotism, then so be it.
All right, last question, I promise. Look, there are reports that you were calling other teams to say to say not to draft him. Listen, Rich. Last question, Rich.
Have a good day.
You know he ain't answered that question.
Rich. No answer. All right.
So you knew he would go get that one. You knew he would go get that one out of there. that was the latest bit of news that I mentioned before. Yeah. So the rumor was that Rich Paul was calling the other teams and telling them not to draft Bronny, and he's saying if they do, then he's going to play in Australia. That was the latest news, like right before. I would say like it was like an hour or so before he actually got drafted to the Lakers. So what do we think about Bronny specifically getting drafted. Do we think, because I mean, I think the obvious question is yes, but do we think that this was pure nepotism going on with Bronny? Do we believe that if Bronny didn't have the name, that he wouldn't have gotten drafted at all, let alone at number 55? Do we believe that that's true? Because I mean, I don't want to say just outright yes. I think that Bronny has a bit of talent, but I was like, bro, you had a chance to show us when you went to USC. I mean, that's a prestigious school in Cali, so it's like you had the chance to show out to be like, hey, this is what I can do. I'm my own man. Here's what I'm doing. I was already doing this stuff for FaZe. Like, I'm making my own name out here. And no matter what, like, I'm still, unfortunately, in my father's shadow. And then I don't show out at USC. I only average 4 points a game. And then I'm making all these plans, or Rich Paul or LeBron are making all these plans for me. Because that's what I think it really was. I honestly don't think that Bronny had much of a choice in this particular situation on what ended up happening to him. Yeah, he may have had some input, but I think overall it was really just Rich Paul and LeBron saying, hey, like this is my dream. Like, we're going to get you drafted to the same team. Like, let's do it. Whether I got 1 year, 2 years, like, I just want to play with my son on the same team. So let's do it. So I don't think he really had that much that much input or power in where he ended up. So he said stop going to Sport Clips and get a black barber. Block, you hilarious. As man said, Sports Clips. You got boy, stop. You know my shit fresh. What up though? So anyway, so that's my thoughts. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious there. But going to the conversation. Oh, he said he's messing with Ace. Oh, I don't know. Ace, you said you got your man's. Like, what happened to your barber? You said you had for like years, right? Like, you ain't been able to get to him in a minute. But anyways, but going into the subject of nepotism, there was a lot of nepotism in like everything, but especially in sports, man. Especially in sports, it's mostly in broadcasting and in the front office. A lot of stuff that happens in the background. A lot of these owners, execs, longtime announcers, whatnot, who have a lot of seniority, who have a lot of tenure within their respective organizations, they will, immediately bring their children into the situation and just, give them a job and have them prove themselves. And, for the most part, some of them have been able to prove themselves, and really get away from your father or mother's shadow. So it's not that you can't get away from your parents' shadows, because it's very well possible that you can, and, in some cases actually become more successful than your parents. It's definitely, it's not like it doesn't happen, because it's definitely possible and we've seen it before. So we see that a lot, but not so much in the aspect of like the players when it comes to like sports. But in other industries, we've seen it too. But in sports, I think that this is a big one, because I know the last real big situation that people talking about was obviously, whoever your GOAT is, whether it's Michael Jordan or LeBron. But Michael Jordan, a lot of people went back to Michael Jordan and his kids, and we thought that his kids were going to be really, really good playing basketball, and ultimately none of them really panned out, like their dad. So now we come years later, decades later. Shout out to Siggy with the raid. So now we come back to now, and this is going to happen again with one of the GOATs in basketball. And now we're going to see what happens to Bronny, because now, unlike Michael Jordan's kids, Bronny got drafted, and he's going to be playing on the same team as his dad. So it's going to be even more pressure on Bronny to show out and so they can get it done when his dad ultimately retires and passes the torch, because it's supposed to go to you. It's supposed to go to you. So that's a tremendous amount of pressure, man. That is a tremendous amount of pressure. Like, what if you let your father down? Like, at the end of the day, like him and Rich Paul got you in this situation, and then there's a possibility that you just might end up blowing it because you honestly haven't shown enough basketball talent wise in your last tenure to show that you deserve this spot. So that's how I feel about Bronny specifically. But when it comes to black people, and I'm talking about me, when it comes to black people and nepotism, I'm not gonna lie, man. Somebody, and I literally got out of it, so sorry. I don't want to pull up a specific tweet here that I responded to earlier today, and I was like, you know what? Like this actually puts things in a better perspective for me. It actually puts things in a better perspective for me. So where was it? Where was it? Where was it? This one right here. So this person said they should have stayed in college. This person said, black people, we got to start embracing nepotism. The goal is all of us not having to get it out the mud. Now, I know the black people do this a lot. It's really not so much a common thing with other races, other nationality, but black people, we do this a lot. I ain't gonna lie, man. We do this a lot. We love the story of someone getting it out the mud, being 10 toes down from ground zero and making it to the top. Like, we love those stories, right? Love those stories. But when this person said this, I was like, you know what? Like, the goal is, and it should be for everybody, for all parents, to make sure that your kids have it better than you do. Like, we don't, I don't, and I thought about, I'm like, damn, I don't want my kids to get it out the mud. I want them to understand what that feels like and understand the privilege that you have because your mom and your dad were successful and they were able to afford you these things and afford you this life. That is the point. I for damn sure do not want my children to struggle. I don't want them to struggle. I want them to have the best life that they possibly can have. That is the point. You do not want your kids to struggle. If your kids are struggling, then you as a parent should be like, hey, where did I go wrong? Did I not teach my kids these particular values, right? Like these good values in order to progress through life on a positive note, on a successful note. So I'm like, bro, and now when it comes to race, I'm like, white people do this all the time, bro. White people do this all the time. So us as a black society, we should not be thinking that nepotism is a bad thing, right? Like, all right, we're talking about nepo babies, but we should be actually celebrating. I'm not gonna lie, because we already have to work 10 times harder in America. We already have to work 10 times harder. So we're already behind in the race, and we're still behind in the race. But the ones that did make it and the ones that are successful, they should be able to allow their children to get whatever they want. But the thing is, I'm hoping that all of these parents that are super successful and have these kids that are able to have this amazing life and do whatever the hell they want, I just hope that they are teaching them that, you know, shit ain't sweet out here. Like your dad or your mom really did get it out the mud, and I was able to work my ass off to get to where I am and put, you know, put you in a big ass house, put all these food in your mouth and clothes on your back, and afford you the finer things that other people in the same position when I weren't able to do, because my parents weren't able to do it, but I was able to do it for you, and I was able to do it, you know, and pay that back to my mom and my dad if they're still alive, and get them the things that they never had or we never had when we were growing up. So that really should be the goal, right? That really should be the goal. So nah, F that, bro. I'm embracing nepotism. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm embracing nepotism with our people. Like everybody else, whatever, you know, they can have it, but I want to embrace it with us. So I was like, you know what, you know, I need to change my perspective. I need to change my way of thinking, because this truly is a goal. So if my kids can follow in my footsteps, you know, if they want to, and I'm able to get them in a higher position, then so be it. But I want them to also, I just want them to understand. I want them to humble themselves and not go through life with rose-colored lenses, just thinking that, you know, that the world is their oyster and they're gonna walk over everybody. Like, I want to teach them the values in life. I still want them to understand what it feels like to be at the bottom, but I don't want them to be at the bottom, if that makes sense. So, but that's in the overall perspective. I'm not talking about Bronny anymore in this particular conversation, but I'm just saying in an overall perspective, this is how I feel. I'm like, nah, we need to actually start embracing this more in our community. We need to start embracing this more in our community. So that's how I feel. Nepotism going to exist regardless. When I've been a friend, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's not like it's just going to go away. It's not going to go away. So that's just how I feel about it. And so we're getting there. Yeah, we are getting there. He said we tell her happy for the young kid. He was in that position. Yeah, I already know, no man. I know that if your kids get to that position, and you're able to help them have a better life than you, then I know you would for sure. I know you would for sure. So like I said, I don't want to be like going back to Bronny. I don't want to be tough on him. I don't want to be tough on him because you know his dad was able to afford that life for Bronny and get him into this position. So why are we as a black community hating on it? You know, whether you think he deserved it or not is it should really be irrelevant in this conversation. You know, and we're just gonna hope that Bronny understands that, hey, like, you're gonna have so much media attention on you now. Like, I just want you to understand what's going to come with this, and I hope that you take this as serious as your father did. That's what I hope that LeBron is telling him, because it's about to be very interesting next season. About to be very interesting. So all odds are going to be on him. You know, obviously odds are going to be on LeBron, but more odds are going to be on Bronny next season. That is a fact. That is a fact. So, but again, the overall perspective, man, I don't have the same thought process, because again, I was kind of just rolling with the man. So I'm like, yeah, like all these Nepo babies, like they're just getting fed stuff, and why should they didn't get it out the mud like everybody else? Like I will admit that I had that mindset before, and I think that seeing this tweet here, especially after what just happened with Bronny, it really changed my whole perspective. I'm like, you know what? I shouldn't be thinking like this, and black people shouldn't be thinking like this either, to be honest. We really should not. Really should not. Like, if we have the opportunity to get our kids in the higher position, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that. I ain't gonna be mad at it. I'm not gonna be mad at it. So I'm sure he will. You're gonna be making some mistakes. Yeah. You know, you gonna take your lumps, man. You gotta take your lumps as they go. And young just don't make any bills. I'm not gonna lie. I won't see LeBron get crossed up in front of Bronny like a drink or break. Hey, man. Hey, you know, it happens. So that's that, man. That's my those are my thoughts on the whole Bronny situation and nepotism as a whole. So we'll see. But hey, good luck to Bronny, man. Like honestly, good luck. I don't want to hate on him. I don't want to hate on him at all, because why? He doesn't deserve it yet. Like, at least not yet. We'll see, you know, if overall it ends up panning out. But at the end of the day, if he ends up being a dud, if he ends up being a bust, then it is what it is. At least he had the opportunity to play with his pops, because it's, you know, they're making history. At least he had the opportunity to play with his pops. But you know, if this is truly what he wants to do, then I hope that he has a long career in the NBA, man. Show us something. You know, show us something. But you just got to be prepared. You got to be prepared for the worst, because as soon as you put on that Lakers uniform, regular season hit, Summer League coming up beforehand. You know, Summer League coming up beforehand. So all that's going to be on you there. So Summer League going to be there. And then if you end up being a dud there, then people really going to be like, you don't deserve this spot. So I hope that he shows out. I hope that he understands. And then when the regular season comes around, pending anything crazy happening, then I hope that he is able to prosper with his pops. So it is what it is.